Alright, you guys, ZFR back here again, and this is going to be my review for God of War. Now, I have not been a God of War fan in the past. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. In the past, I haven't really even played any of the God of Wars before this one. To be honest with you, I've only touched a few of them, mostly Ascension from what I remember briefly. And while they did seem like fun, they just did not seem like my type of game. Mostly because of that overhead camera view, I wasn't feeling it. But this God of War was outstanding, alright? And I just want to say that I am very excited for the next installments, because I'm pretty sure there are going to be more installments after the end of this game and stuff. This review will contain spoilers towards the end though, so just letting you guys know, I will kind of brief you when we get to that portion. But anyway, so what did I find impressive about God of War? Well, there's a ton of different things to brag about when it comes to this game. All the way from the graphics to the outstanding storytelling to just the combat and everything. Like, I mean, everything in this game was amazing. The way they did stuff, the structure of the game was very well done. A lot of variety, kept things fresh and stuff, to all the different enemy types. Everything just seems so outstanding and so very well done. I really enjoyed the game. So obviously, number one factor here is the story. So this God of War story, from what I've seen, it kind of isn't too far off from some of the other stories, but for the most part, this is a very different God of War story from the previous ones, but it does kind of attach itself to those previous stories throughout the game. But for the most part, this story is mostly about Kratos and his son and their journey to carry Kratos' new spouse, or Atreus' mother's ashes, to the top of the mountain, or to the highest peak in all the realms, to spread them. And pretty much this quest starts out simple, but as you can probably guess, things get way more complicated as we get deeper in. So with that being said, overall the game's story was fantastic. Like, Kratos' relationship with Atreus is a very complex one, and they did a much better job of fleshing it out than I thought they were. You know, a lot of people were worried that this was going to be a Last of Us clone, that they were just trying to copy that. And it feels really different from the kind of relationship Joel and Ellie had, at least to me. You know, because with this one, Kratos obviously cares about his son throughout the entire game. He loves him throughout the entire game, but you really get to see both of these characters grow a lot by the end of this game, and I thought that was the really impressive part. It felt just as much like Atreus was making Kratos a much better character than as much as Kratos made him a better character. You know, they really complement each other well. Like, the chemistry there is fantastic, and it's really well done. Next is the combat system. I feel a massive need to brag about the combat in this game. It is just absolutely outstanding. Like, it feels very brutal. All of the controls and stuff, they feel really well. It took me a while to adjust, I'm not gonna lie, and especially since I played this on not the hardest difficulty. I didn't play on Give Me God of War, but I played on Give Me a Challenge, I think. Whichever one is hard, I can't really remember. Yeah, Give Me a Challenge, I believe it is. And it was still pretty brutal even on that difficulty. But yeah, this definitely took a... I don't know, a lot of people were comparing it to Bloodborne, Dark Souls, but I don't necessarily even think you can compare it to that too well, for a simple reason. When it comes to this game, you have to be just as cautious and rely on skill just as much as you do in some of the Soul games, but at the same time you have to be a lot more aggressive in this game. You know, the combat in this game is very aggression focused, and I really enjoyed that about it. You know, it felt like a very, very well done system, so that was really fun. Then you had Atreus, where you can kind of upgrade some stuff for him and have some different things for him going through combat, and you can kind of forget to use him at times, but when you remember to use him, it changes everything. Like, you can literally change a horrible situation into one with a little bit of hope if you remember to use Atreus in the combat. So yeah, that was a really well done touch. I was a little bit worried about that part when I first started. I was worried it wasn't going to really come in handy, but the way they did it was very well done, and I haven't seen too many hiccups within that system yet. Graphically, the game is amazing. Haven't seen too many glitches. I think I maybe ran into one moment where there was a little bit of lag. But I believe I was live streaming or doing some live stream stuff in that moment, so that could have been the cause of it. So overall, no glitches or anything from what I'm seeing. And another thing I want to praise the game on really is its side quests. They somehow intertwine some of these side quests into the story so well, in my opinion. And don't get me wrong, they're not really mixed into the story, but it's believable that these characters might stop to do some of this stuff on their way, you know, because of what they're doing, because of their quest. And you know, they do a real good job with consistency, with keeping this weird mix between a really serious but yet kind of lighthearted and adventurous tone to everything. It feels like a true action adventure. Like, that's really the best way I can explain it. And every side quest, you know, it feels like it has a meaning, it feels like it has a purpose. You know, the rewards have weight to them, so a lot of times you get something that's worth it out of a lot of these, which is great. Another thing I want to praise the game on really quickly is actually the structure of the game. Like, the structure of this game is amazing in terms of like the actual structure of where things are placed and stuff, and where certain things take place in the story, or how you unlock certain things while progressing through the story, all the way to just the overall level design in general. Like, it's downright amazing. One of the things that's impressing me a lot about the game right now is how many of the older areas I've already been through and really grinded out a lot of the stuff in them the first time I went through. It's impressing me how much more I left undone in those areas later on, now, especially now that I've unlocked tools and stuff to make it to certain rewards and different items, and maybe even some secret boss fights within those areas. So with that being said, yeah, there's a lot of quality and quantity in this game. Overall, this game is just outstanding, and be warned, this is the portion of the review that will go over spoilers. When it comes to the sequel, at the end of the game, finding out that Atreus is Loki changes everything. Because, I mean, if you know Loki, you know he's not exactly, even though he's not exactly friendly with the Asgardians, he also isn't their biggest enemy either. So you know some stuff is going to go down within the next installments of this franchise. You know some big stuff is going to go down with Kratos and Atreus, and you just can't wait. Like, that was an amazing twist at the end of the game, and it was just one last big surprise for me. And the way they tied it all together with him being a giant and part god and everything like that, it was all well done. And if you actually do your research, it fits within the Nordic lore. I keep saying Nordic, Norse lore really well. So with that being said, this was really well done. Like, overall, the game was really well made. Very impressed with everything in it. Really enjoyable cast of characters and stuff like that. Small but enjoyable. Overall, the game was fantastic. So yeah, with that being said, that's all I really have to say about God of War. Really happy with the product. Definitely recommend it. If I had to give it my score, I would give it a 9.5. Now, this game was definitely not a masterpiece in my opinion, like a lot of people are claiming it to be, but I can definitely see why somebody would give the game a perfect score, a 10 out of 10. I definitely see why, and to be honest, I can't even 100% disagree with them, because there's very little flaws to point out within the game that really impact it like that. But the reason I didn't give it a perfect score is because even though the game was amazing, it didn't quite jump out and grab me like something like The Last of Us or The Witcher 3. You know, it didn't catch me like those games did, so therefore, even though it was amazing, it wasn't quite that amazing. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave likes and comments down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I will see you guys on the next one. ZFR out, guys.